Hello, dear listeners. Welcome to our special edition of Pop Culture, where we will explore the fascinating world of artificial intelligence. Today, we are honored to have with us the Dr. Baofu, a world-renowned author and visionary who has written extensively about the future of humanity in relation to the mind, nature, society, and culture. Dr. Baofu's research on the human future has taken him across the globe, and his insights into the responsible and ethical development of AI are highly regarded. Join us today as we discuss with Dr. Baofu the most critical questions and debates around AI and its impact on our world. Dr. Baofu, good morning.
Good morning, Meling.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So, Dr. Baofu, the development of artificial intelligence has been described as the most significant technological advancement of our time. So, what is your view on the current state of AI, and where do you see it heading in the future?
That is certainly a very important question. AI has a very important impact on humanity. And right now we are in the stage of doing more and more on the development of a machine which can understand and interacting with human. So I think that is a very important, but they're also potentially very controversial one.
Sure.
A good example is the current fight over, let's say, the generative pre-training transformer, the GPT.
Yes, the ChatGPT.
I think a lot of people have been talking about that, and they have different versions, version 1, version 2, version 3, version 4, now coming version 5. In the future, you may have version 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and all that. Sure. So what is the trend for that, you ask? I think that the trend is going to looking into not just text, but also images, videos, feelings, touch, and all the senses that humans understand. And we want the machines to do the same thing.
Definitely.
So right now in the previous version, they are trying to teach the machine to understand, to read text. I'm not sure if you have ever used that before in the US. Let's say if you go to some of the mass media or go to some of the banking websites, sometimes you have some questions. So the person who answers the question is not a human, is a machine. He's a online chat assistant, and when you type in the question, they will answer your question, and sometimes you know that the question doesn't make sense. The question is the answer is a stupid answer. It doesn't answer your question. Why? Because the other part is not a human, it's a machine.
And it's true that you can see that with ChatGPT, and I personally tried it, and sometimes like ChatGPT makes mistakes as well, and you've got to change it when sometimes like it doesn't write like proper French or proper English, and that could be a problem if you're trying to write an essay or a journalist piece or paper.
Many of the translation nowadays on TV and also on YouTube, and you watch some videos, and sometimes there are some translation as subtitle. Sometimes humans did not translate that. It's the machines. And sometimes if you read the translation, sometimes the sentences do not make sense. And we call that hallucinations.
Yes.
And that's a word that we use to say that the machines somehow do not pick up. And that's why we need all these kind of new applications to make sure that the machines can understand better what humans say to each other and how they can react to that. So we are teaching robots now, not just in the chat platform, but also some other robots now. They can interact, they can touch, they can feel, they can do a lot of things. That you tell them something, they can do that for you, and that is a challenge.
And absolutely, I must say that AI has come a long way in recent years. You just mentioned with the development of deep learning and neural networks, as well as natural language processing and computer vision. ChatGPT, you mentioned earlier, is one of the key examples, Dr. Baofu. Our show today is all about the pop culture. That's the title of the show. So what do you think about the portrayal of AI in popular culture, like in movies and in TV shows?
Have you watched what's the name of the film, Avatar?
Yes, of course.
Okay, that's a good example. There are many other sci-fi novels, literature, films. They are trying to use artificial intelligence and try to use some of the images of humans, and they generate some new, transform them into some new images. And so avatars is a good example. In the future, you will see more and more some of these films And not only they can do that, they can make that to the point that they look very real. Right now, when you look at the pictures, you know that those pictures are not real.
True.
So in the future, I written quite a number of books on these topics and also the implication on arts, entertainment, and all that. In the future, they become so realistic, you cannot tell whether that is really a human or whether that is just a virtual transformative pictures.
And in the future, who knows, we might have an AI that will mimic the style of James Cameron that's behind Avatar.
Well, that is a good question, and that is one of the questions that I ask in my books about that. And I propose more than 144 different new theories by now, and several of them are about the AI, and one of them is what I call post-humanity, post-humans. You've asked about the trend. This is the short term. The long-term trend is to, I think that is an evolution of humans to become post-humans, which means that the people like you and me will not exist anymore in the farther future. Humans will become extinct, by the way.
That's why, Elon Musk, he said that it's dangerous to trust AI right now and that we should stop working on it.
I totally disagree with him. Because I think that his vision is very short-sighted. In the short term, in the medium term, you might have some conflicts, but I think that they can do more to humans in the short term and the medium terms than the harms. But in the longer term, there are no more humans anymore to talk about. So there will not be a fight between humans and machines. I talk about post-humans in my application, in my publications, and I provide a lot of different visions about future living beings. And we are not there anymore. So there will not be a conflict between humans and post-humans because there will be no more humans afterward. Right. So we are evolving toward that direction. And AI is only one of them, by the way. Don't focus too much on AI. I spoke about many other visions of the human future, such as floating consciousness, hyperspatial consciousness, unfolding unconsciousness. There are many other things, planetoid, robotoids. There are many other things which are emerging in the future, not in the short term. By the time they appear, you and I will not be there anymore.
Exactly. That'll be like in the next probably 1,000 of years or 2,000 of years.
Or even more, it depends on which stage of the human.
And right now as well, there is a growing interest in the idea of creating artificial general intelligence, AGI machines that can perform any intellectual task that a human can. That's in the future. You talk about like a picture for like in the 1,000 of years. And do you see AGI as a realistic possibility in the near future? So when I say near future, in the coming 10 years, in the next 10 years?
I do think that in the next 10 years, you will see more and more like that. But I'm not so optimistic as some people wish that this will happen very fast. I think that it will happen, but give them some more time. I think that 10 years, that is a bit too short.
All right.
50 years, that is a bit better. But 100 years, 1,000 years, that is much better.
For sure. And one of the biggest concerns as well about AI is the potential impact. Earlier on, you said that it's something that's controversial, so it could have a potential impact on the job market as well. I'm a journalist. It could have an impact on an architect or a filmmaker. Some experts predict that an automation could lead to widespread unemployment and economic disruption. So what is your opinion on this issue and what can be done to mitigate these effects?
Yes, this debate is not new. If you look into the history of technology, there has always been some debate about that. Every time there's some new technological breakthrough, back in the first industrial revolution, when you had the steamships, and people at that time were talking about, this kind of new machine, they are going to kill humans, that's not safe, we are not going to use that. No, we continue to use horses, we continue to use whatever we have used. No, the machine... No, that's not quite true. So, yes, nowadays there are a lot of debates about that. There are some problems. I can mention some of the major ones. For example, economic challenge, political challenge, moral challenge, existential challenge. For example, economic one is a question of unemployment. I think that is exaggerated. I think that AI can do more to the economy than you could. There are some negative cost. But in everything in life, there's always benefits and costs.
True.
In economics, you have to balance the benefits and the costs. I think that the automation, yes, it will create, it will replace some of the human jobs. But I think that that's a good thing. We are free. We are liberated from doing all those dirty works. And we are free now to do some other work. There's the transformation of the economy become more and more advanced. Just like in the older days, you have hunting and gathering. Why we do not do that anymore? Because we don't need them anymore.
And you know what? As a famous quote goes, the future is not something we enter. The future is something we create. Do you agree on that?
Creation is also a part of the issue, and that's very important, but there's also the other part too. Destruction is also an important thing to think about. But what I'm trying to say is that the benefits will be more than the cost in terms of the unemployment, automation, and all that. But I think
AI can help in creating a better world.
Oh, much better one. Now, there will be some cost. By the way, technology by itself is neutral. It's how you use that. Look at nuclear weapons and look at nuclear energy. It's two sides of the same coin. The same thing about a knife. You can have a knife to cut meat, to do a lot of things, but you can also use a knife to kill humans too.
True.
Look, you are wearing this headphone. I can use the headphone to kill you too.
Exactly, but that's not going to happen today as well.
Exactly. So just because they have negative consequences, it doesn't mean there's no benefits. But the benefits are more than the cost. There's the cost-benefit analysis. But there will always be users and misusers of everything in life.
So that's a very thought-provoking perspective, I must say. And closing today, what advice would you give Dr. Baofu to our audience listening right now, particularly the younger generation who will be living in a world increasingly shaped by AI and other emerging technologies?
I do think that they have to look into some of the challenges that I have mentioned. Some of them I have not even discussed with you. Political question, let's say about control, authoritarian control, moral question about cheating, about unhumanness and all that, existential question about how should humans relate to the eventual supersession of humans by post-humans. Those are some of the most fundamental questions facing AI. We have not discussed about that. I have not discussed with you about that.
I'm sure that we'll have the opportunity to talk about these discussions and these subjects in the near future, maybe over the phone because you're going away this weekend. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Baofu. It's been a fascinating discussion, as I must say, and I'm sure our listeners have learned a lot from your insight about artificial intelligence. Thanks you once again.
Thank you for having me.